Hello, hello. We are back with Chapter 10, Probability, discussing Lesson 1, Probability. Now, you can describe the probability of an event happening as impossible, unlikely, as likely as not, likely, or certain. So, and that's how we're going to be describing some different probabilities. So for the first thing, we're going to look at this spinner. It's one of those things you just spin it, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay? So for the spinner at the right, spinning a 7 is, what is it? Is it impossible, unlikely, as likely as not, likely, or certain? Which of those alternatives would be spinning a 7? Well, spinning a 7 isn't even here, so it's completely impossible to spin a 7 because the spinner has no 7. All right. How about spinning a 5? Spinning a 5 is blank. Oh, don't read that. Okay, spinning a 5 is it impossible, unlikely, as likely as not, likely, or certain? Well, out of here, there's only one space that's 5. So it would be unlikely. It can happen, but it's unlikely that you're going to hit a 5 because there's a lot of other options out there as well. Okay, so spinning a 5 is unlikely because only one of the 6 numbers is a 5. Okay, spinning an even number is impossible, unlikely, as likely as not, likely, or certain. So even numbers would be 2, 4, 6, and the uneven is 1, 3, 5. So there's as many even numbers as there are odd numbers, so that means it is as likely to spin an even number as it is not. So as likely as not. So you have the same chance of hitting a spinning an even number as you do spinning an odd number. So in those cases, you would just say spinning an even number is as likely as not because 3 of the numbers are even and 3 of the numbers are odd. Okay, on to the next. Spinning a number that is greater than 1. Is that impossible, unlikely, as likely as not, likely, or certain? Well, here, there's only one number that's a 1, and then everything else is bigger than a 1. So there's actually a pretty good chance that you're going to, when you spin, you're going to land on something that's not a 1. So I would say that it would be likely. Spinning a number that is greater than 1 is likely because 5 of the 6 numbers are greater than 1. Okay, now for the last one. Spinning a number that is less than 7 is impossible, unlikely, as likely as not, likely, or certain. Well, all of these numbers are less than 7. So really anything you spin is always going to be less than 7. So that means that spinning a number that is less than 7 is certain because all of the numbers are less than 7. All right. Okay, so let's go down. We're still using the spinner up there in the picture. So I want to be able to see it. Okay. So using this spinner above, write impossible, unlikely. So these are our different impossible, unlikely, as likely as not, likely, or certain to complete each statement. So 4 of the 6 numbers are less than 5. So these 4, 3, 2, and 1. So that's 4 of the 6 are less than 5. Spinning a number that is less than 5 is, what do you think? Impossible, unlikely, likely as not, likely, or certain? Well, it's bigger than a 50-50% chance. So what I would say is that it is likely. So spinning a number that is less than 5 is likely. Okay, how about number 2? 6 of the 6 numbers are greater than 0. Spinning a number that is greater than 0 is, what do you think? Impossible, unlikely, likely is not, likely, or certain? It would be certain because all of these numbers are greater than 0. So spinning a number that is greater than 0 is certain. Okay, and for this last one here, number 3. One of the 6 numbers is a 3. Spinning a 3 is, what do you think? Impossible, unlikely, likely is not, likely, or certain? Well, one of the numbers of the 6 numbers is a 3. So there's not that big of a chance of hitting a 3. So we would say that there's still a chance, so it's not impossible, right? But it's unlikely that it's going to happen. So spinning a 3 is unlikely. All right, perfect. Okay, let's turn the page. Now, what we have a bag containing 1 red marble, 2 blue marbles, and 3 green marbles. Now, I understand these are not marbles, but let's just pretend that we are like in a, what's it called, Minecraft, and everything is block formation. So these are our block marbles, okay? So, a bag contains 1 red marble, 2 blue marbles, 3 green marbles. The probability of picking a red marble, this one, so if I have them all and my eyes are closed, or we'll have the dragon. Okay, the dragon's eyes are closed right there. Okay, cover your eyes. What's the probability that the dragon will pick a red marble? Well, let's see. How you find that, the probability of picking a red marble, is you take the total number of red marbles. Okay, so there's 1 red marble. And then that is over the total number of all marbles. So we just count them up. Let's see here. Total number of all marbles. All right, all right, all right. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6. So the probability of picking a red marble would be 1 out of 6, or not 1 out of, but 1 over 6. 1/6. So to find so that's the probability of picking a red marble. Now, if we want to find the probability of not picking a red marble, one thing we can do is we can subtract the probability of picking a red marble from 1. And 1 really represents the whole, okay? So what we're doing is we want to figure out, well, what's the probability of not picking a red marble? If we know that the red marble is 1/6, well, we can subtract that from 1. So the probability would then be 1 minus 1/6. And so we need to get a common denominator, right? Multiply both of these by 6. So we have 6 over 6 minus 1 over 6. And now that we have a common denominator of 6, we could just go, we keep that, and we go 6 minus 1, which would be 5. Now, if we look at this, and we go back to our example, so not being able to pick, the probability of not picking a red would be 5 out of 6. And that makes sense because there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 options out of a total of 6. So that would be correct. So method 2 would be the total number of marbles that are not red. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over the total number of all marbles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there we have it. We have the same answer right there. Okay? All right, cool. Let's go ahead and move on. So what we have for number 4, it states we have a number cube is labeled. Oh, wait, whoa, what was that? What was that? Did you guys see that? What just happened? Is the dragon throwing stuff? Dragon, you can't be throwing stuff on the video. It's not allowed. Oh, wait, here it is. Do you see this? Oh, we have a number cube. Now for everybody, a number cube is a cube that has numbers on it. 1, well, that's not 2. Where we go? Where's the next one? 3, 4, 5, and 6. So there's 6 sides to a number cube, okay? So the problem states that a number cubed is labeled 1 through 6. The probability of randomly rolling a 3 is 1 out of 6. Because there's only one side that is a 3, and there's 6 total sides. That's why it's 1 out of 6. The question says, what is the probability of not rolling a 3? Well, we can find the probability of not rolling a 3 by taking, we can go probability equals 1 minus the probability of rolling a 3 is 1/6. So that means the probability of not rolling a 3 would be everything else. So for this, we need to get a common denominator, right? Make that a fraction. The common denominator would be 6, so multiply that by 6, multiply that by 6. We end up with, I'll just do it here, 6 over 6 minus 1/6, which would be equal to 5/6. So the probability would be 5/6. You know, the other method of doing this would be the total numbers that are not 3 over the total amount of numbers. That would be the probability. So let's look here. What's not a 3? So 1, 2, well, that one doesn't count. That's a 3. So we have 2, 4, but that would be 3 sides. That would be 4, and then that would be 5. So there would be 5 options that are not a 3. So there's 5 options that are not a 3, and the total number of options or sides would be 6. So 2 different ways to do the same thing. Okay, perfect. Let's go to problem 5. Problem 5 states a spinner has 5 sections labeled 1 through 5. The probability of randomly spinning an even number is 2 out of 5, or 2/5. What is the probability of not spinning an even number? Well, we're just going to go 1. The probability equals 1 minus 2/5. Okay, so again, we need to get a common denominator. We're going to make that 1. Common denominator between 1 and 5 is going to be 5, so we're going to multiply the top and the bottom by 5. We get 5 over 5 minus 2/5. Oh, that should be a 5. I don't know why I wrote a 3. So that means the probability, if we subtract this, 5 minus 2 would be 3, and you keep the number on the bottom, there you go. The probability would be 3/5. All right, we will see you next time. Goodbye.